My 9-year-old and 6-year-old invested in one of my rental properties with money they earned by helping me at the rental property. And the look on their faces when we went and got our first cash flow distribution from the bank the other day was priceless. I'm Megan, and today I want to share with you real legal ways to pay your kids from your real estate investments and how to teach them to invest with you. So let me start with the story of my children's first real estate investment. When we moved to this home, I decided to turn my last house into a midterm rental. And one day when I needed to get some work done over there, I brought them with me to help me out. I told them as we were going that I would either pay them $10 in cash for helping me out that day, or if they wanted to invest their money into the rental property, I would match their contribution. So just like employers match contributions to Roth IRAs, I said I would match what they put in another $10. So they would each have $20 invested in the rental property. I explained that we would then see how much we made on the property every quarter, every 3 months, and that I would give them some percentage of the cash flow that came from that rental property. So they knew they wouldn't get their cash right away, but I explained that they would get cash later on and that it could build over time to be much more than they would get if they just took $10 that day. So both of my children decided to invest, get that match, and they had $20 each invested in the property. We got a midterm guest into the space in October, so it's now January, and I ran the numbers. I pulled a P&L from my QuickBooks to see all the income and expenses associated with that house. I added the principal payment and the escrow payments to the bottom so that we could see the true cash flow after all expenses and debt servicing. And I made them sit down and look through it with me. Now, they're 9 and 6, so not all of it made sense to them, but basically they understood we received some amount of money. We had to spend some of that money to run the property, but there was some left over, and that's our cash flow. Now, despite them only putting $20 in each, I gave them each a generous 1% of the cash flows received, so they received $16.16 each. That's like an 81% return on the $20 they initially put in just 3 months, so that's pretty darn good. They're getting a great deal by investing with mom, but of course I want them to be excited about investing, so I'm giving them a little more than they would make in the real world. And again, I asked them, do you want this cash? Do you want to reinvest it? Or do you want to do some mix of those things? So they decided they would each reinvest 10 of the dollars that they earned, so they now have $30 invested with me, and they would take $6.16 to put in their wallets to spend on whatever toy or candy they want. So we went to the bank together a couple of days ago. I explained to the teller why we were pulling out these funny amounts, and she very happily obliged us and gave them each their $6.16, so they got to go and collect the money from the bank. So the first 3 months were actually really good for them. I did explain that this isn't always how it goes. Sometimes you have big expenses that hit and you have little to no cash flow at all, but I think they understand already a little bit that there's power in investing in something that can pay you over time. And they see how working for just a couple hours for me one day has led to a lot more money than they could have made if they just took that cash and did nothing else with it. So this is a very simplified way to have them invest with me. They're young. I want to keep it simple for now. And obviously there are a lot of ways to build and grow this investment plan with them as they get older and they're more able to earn more money and invest more money. But for now, we're learning some really cool grade school level appropriate lessons. So why is it important to get your kids involved in earning and investing early on? Well, there's a few reasons. First of all, I think oftentimes kids learn that you need to earn money in order to spend money. But there are some other aspects in there that you want to talk about as well, such as saving and investing. Even when kids are learning to invest a portion of what they earn, oftentimes you hear put 10% away in some sort of retirement account, and then they're living on 90% of what they make. They're really doing the bare minimum for investing, and it's not going to grow to a level that can build true wealth. I read recently that the average American has about $300,000 in their investment accounts when they hit age 65. That's not enough to retire on comfortably in the way I would like to retire. And I want my children to know that there are other ways to build wealth over time and that they need to do a little more than just 10% per month to really reach their goals if they want some level of financial independence in their life. The other reason to involve your kids early is because of that beautiful compounding effect over time. The earlier your children are able to start earning, saving, investing, the better. Time is your friend when it comes to investing, as we know from almost all of the good investing books out there. So the sooner the better. It's also a lot easier to get these habits formed for life when you start young. Just like kids who grow up in a household where their mom or dad or both parents work out regularly and they see being active and including exercise in their daily routine as just a normal part of life. Children who see and are actively involved in investing investing from an early age will be able to easily build the habit of investing for themselves in the future. So this is about long-term thinking. It's also about teaching them about the risks involved with investing. And finally, it's about building confidence, understanding, knowledge, confidence that can really set them up for the future. So let's talk about paying your kids from your real estate, or maybe any business that you own. This is the income side of the lessons that we want to teach them. You can pay your children for legitimate age-appropriate work from an early age. So obviously, if they're 2, there's not much that they can do for you yet, but by the time they're 5, 6, 7, there are a lot of legitimate age-appropriate ways that they can do things for you in your business to make money. This might be organizing receipts or files, helping you clean a place, helping you with landscaping at a property. Maybe they're stuffing envelopes if you're sending mailers out to potential sellers, helping with signs or staging. There are a whole bunch of things you can do, and if you're wondering what your kid could do at the age that they're at, go just ask ChatGPT and get a whole list of ideas based on your child's age and the business that you have to pay them. Now, if you're going to pay your child from your real estate or from some business that you own, in most cases, they're going to be paid as W-2 employees, not as 1099 independent contractors. Definitely speak with your CPA. I'm not a CPA. I'm just sharing with you what I've learned over time. But the reason that I understand that it's better to pay them as W-2 employees is because it's simpler, cleaner, and more defensible. So how much can you pay? The amount that you can pay a child and have them not be taxed by the IRS each year will change year by year, but as of recording this in 2026, a child should be able to earn up to $16,100 per year without being taxed. So that means that it's a tax write-off for you as the parent and business owner who paid them, but they are not being taxed. Animals cannot be paid. Now, an important distinction here is that just because you can pay them $16,000 in a year does not mean that you should. Again, we want to make sure that what you pay your children is defensible in the eyes of the IRS. So whatever you pay them has to be reasonable for the work that they did for you, both the type of work and the amount of time they spent working for you over the course of that year. So when you pay your children, you need to pay them through some sort of payroll system, just like you'd pay any other employee. If you don't have other employees, then maybe speak to your CPA about the right way to set up some sort of payroll system for them. Make sure you track the hours they work, the tasks they complete, and the pay rate for all of that. And make sure you keep it really clean. Now, how do you help your kids invest the money that they've earned? So we're going from active income to passive income and wealth building with this part. And this can be done in a few different ways. So let's go from simple to more complex. First of all, you can just give them the money and they can decide how to split up that money between spending, saving, and investing in the future. It's important to talk with them about the fact that they don't invest 100% of the money they make. Even at younger ages, you want them to both get the immediate gratification of having a little bit of money to spend while also learning about the benefits of saving and investing and seeing how that works for them and builds for them over time. Now, for more traditional investments, you can open a custodial investment account for your child. So this is an account that you open on behalf of them with you as the custodian, and probably the best way to do this is through a Roth IRA. Again, double check with your CPA. Your child is probably not making enough to be taxed, so they are getting tax-free income from you when you pay them from your real estate or other business. And then when you put it into a Roth IRA, which is traditionally something that people pay into after they've already been taxed, then they're going to get tax-free growth on that money over time as well. So this is a really great option for your kids while they're young. If you want to jumpstart a retirement account for them early on, a Roth IRA is probably the best way to do it. Now, in the future, if they want to pull money out, they can pull out their own contributions without any taxes or penalties. So maybe over time, they put $10,000 into the Roth IRA account and it's grown to $30,000. They can take out that $10,000 without any taxes, fees, or penalties. But that $20,000 should stay in there, that remaining $20,000 of growth, unless you want to pay taxes and fees on that. A couple important things to note about a custodial Roth IRA. First of all, it has to be filled with income that they earned. So it can't just be an allowance, it has to be money that they earned and that you can show and track when and how they earned that money over time. Additionally, the contributions to that Roth IRA have to be capped at either what they made that year or at the annual limit for the Roth IRA, which as of recording this is $7,000 per year, whichever is less. And once they are invested in a custodial Roth IRA, you can take that money and put it into index funds or stocks, and you can help them watch and track that money grow, see the ups and the downs over time, and teach them about the long-term thinking involved with investing. Now, as I illustrated at the beginning of this video with the story about my children's first investment, you can also help your children invest in real estate with you. If you're starting younger, it's probably going to be a pretty simple arrangement like I described earlier, but the older they get, the more that you can do to involve them in the real estate. Perhaps they have some equity in the properties that you're buying, or you're even at the point where they can buy a property in their name with you co-signing. There are a lot of different ways to do this. Again, speak with your CPA to discuss specifics. But I think the most important thing with real estate investing is that they can see and touch the investment. They can help you around the investment and be working in and on the property, and that they can go through those monthly or quarterly P&L and cash flow statements and understand kind of the mechanics behind investing in real estate, how you make money, where you have to spend money, the fact that it's not consistent month over month or even year over year, and you will have some ups and downs in cash flow, but there's passive income that you can generate by investing in rental properties. And then if they're on the equity side, they can also gain money in terms of appreciation over time as well. So in my example, my children have a little bit of money invested with me in this property. It's staying with me over time as they choose to reinvest portions of their cash flow. I'll keep track of how much money they have with me. And if they keep doing this consistently, I imagine by the time that they are 18 years old, they could have a pretty good chunk of money with me, which they could then choose to take out of investment with me and go use as a down payment maybe on their very first house hack. That would be amazing. I also know people who, as their children make money, they kind of save it in their own separate account, and then their children will lend to their parents when they buy a new property or if they're doing a flip or something. So it's a much more short-term arrangement in terms of the children giving them money for 3, 6, 9 months and then getting all their money back plus interest, and they see their money grow that way. Again, real estate comes with so many options, so many strategies, so many ways to do things. So there's a lot of ways to teach your children about investing with real estate as the example. If you have any really fun examples, please drop them in the comments below. So as we wrap up, let's hit a few key do's and don'ts when you are paying your children and helping them invest with you in real estate or in some other way. Do make sure that you're paying for real work, that you are documenting everything really well, you're explaining decisions to the children and making them sit down and go through the P&L or any financial documentation that explains their investment and what they're getting back on their investment. Do normalize the ups and downs, ebbs and flows, the exciting things, as well as the boring moments involved. And do keep it age appropriate. So you don't want to scare the kids away or just have their brain shut off because it's too much. So you're going to have to find the right way to get through to your children with these experiences. Please do not create fake jobs. Don't overpay the kids in some way that would not be defensible if the IRS comes wanting more information. Don't hide or shield your children from the risks associated with investing. They do need to learn those things early on, and the sooner they learn it, the better. Don't force investing. If you're a parent, you probably already know that you can often get backlash from children if you try to force certain things. So make sure that they're excited about it or that they are getting to make choices along the way and it's not just shoved down their throats. And finally, don't make this about tax savings alone. I really, really hope that even though there are some great tax benefits involved, you're coming at this from a place of education and inspiration and helping your children become empowered people financially. Bottom line, there are a whole lot of ways to teach your children about earning and investing money over time. You don't have to have rentals, you don't have to have businesses. There are a lot of ways to do this, but I hope today's video gave you a few fun ideas that you can try at home. Your plan does not have to be perfect, just keep the end goal in mind. We're trying to raise children who will be financially literate and financially empowered as adults. It's all about education backed by experiences that inspire confidence. If you have any questions we can answer in future videos, or if you have some fun ideas about teaching kids to invest, please drop those in the comments below. As always, we'd appreciate if you would like, share, subscribe. Hopefully someone else you know will enjoy this video as well. But most importantly, keep learning, keep growing, and have fun.